What's going on, everyone? So based on reports that came out, it looks like Jaxson Hayes may be the starting center for the Lakers. At least early on, they want to experiment with it and they want to try it, which I am fully okay with. I totally get it, and I am totally okay with that. The problem is, the Lakers need a center already, and if you're going to have Jaxson Hayes, who's supposed to be your backup center, now be your starting center, that really changes a lot, right? Now, Anthony Davis, you can always shift to the 5 and you can kind of like start them first 5 minutes, maybe take out AD or take out Hayes and then kind of trickle them throughout. But even then, like you're still going to need a guy to come in and play 15 minutes or whatever. So that way neither of those guys have to play 35 minutes, 40 minutes a game, right? You want them to be fresh. You want them to stay healthy. Anthony Davis also is going to miss probably 20 plus games. Anthony Davis also needs to be able to work on his offensive game from the outside, right? He really struggled about 15 out, right? He was kind of operating and working that like 15 in. So if he can get back to being that like 15 out guy, then that would really help, like he was in the bubble, where he was automatic from 3-point range inside the 3, like, and it wasn't just like in that 8 to 10 area where he's just basically doing a little fall-aways or float-aways or side-aways or all of those things, right? So I like the idea, but that means the Lakers need to get another center. And obviously you have the reports and the rumors of Christian Wood and Biyombo, right? And either of them would be great. Even both of them would be solid if Jaxson Hayes wasn't your starting center. Because Christian Wood, great talent. I am all for the Lakers bringing him in. You're talking about a 17-7 guy. He is not a center. Can he play center in spots? Sure. Right? Like, you know, if you need to run him at center 10 minutes a game, sure. He's more than capable of doing that, and I think that you could have some success if that were the case. But if you have to play him 20 minutes a game at center, that's probably not the best scenario, right? And especially because a lot of teams kind of have bulkier centers, you know, like Memphis, right? Steven Adams comes off the bench a lot. And so if you don't want Christian Wood matched up, or if you don't want to do that matchup, then now you got to play Jaxson Hayes like 40 minutes that game or 35 minutes that game. And then Christian Wood is kind of interchanging with Anthony Davis. Like, I just think that's, if he's your backup power forward, or even your starting power, like if you're starting AD at the 5 and you're putting Christian Wood at the 4, then fine. Or, you know, you have Christian Wood as your backup 4 and then Hayes as your 5, and then you're kind of using Wood as like your third center, right? He's interchanging between the 5 and the 4, then sure. But if you're basically relying on him to be your backup center, I think that might be a little bit of a problem. And Biyombo, same thing, right? Biz is only 6'8", right? And there's a real argument, even if they get one of these two guys, to still go get a more sizable center. And so if they go get Biz, even with his 7'6" wingspan, you know, yeah, he's a great shot blocker and stuff, and he does have a little bit lower center of gravity. He's like 270 or something like that, but he's not, like, is he the guy you want backing up Jaxson Hayes and AD and having a bang against, you know, a Jokic or an Embiid or even a Valanciunas or something like that, right? Like, I don't. You know, if he's coming in and he's just getting spot minutes and he's basically your third center because you have AD who could play the 5 and then you got Jaxson Hayes and then you got Biz, then fine. I'm okay with that. Same thing with Christian Wood. But if you're basically relying on them to play heavy backup center minutes and you need them to play 20 minutes at center because you're going to play, you know, Anthony Davis 25 minutes at power forward, I think that becomes a problem. So I think they need to look at somebody like a Leonard, which Leonard, with his ability to shoot, I think you may be able to even get away with him, or at least experimenting with it, him next to a Jaxson Hayes or him next to an Anthony Davis, right? Where you can kind of have like this interchangeable bigs where like you can basically have AD and Leonard next to Hayes at all times. And then you can kind of have these two big men at all times if you want to and if you need to. Not saying that they should or that they have to, but you can if that's the case, right? Like, that is something I think could really kind of help the Lakers. You get a guy, he's a vet guy, but he's still young, right? He's a guy that can deliver on the offensive side, can handle his own. He's not like this great elite defensive big, but he's good enough to be, especially your backup big. I think he fits. And he's got the size, and he's got the strength, and he's got the athleticism, and he's got the things you need to kind of fill that void. Another option, of course, would be you bring in Udoka, right? Bring in Udoka, have him as like this just, I mean, he's an absolute monster. I mean, you just see him on the court, and he's just this, like, he just looks like a man amongst boys, even from a center standpoint, right? I mean, this is a guy that absolutely, I think, could play the backup center role. Now, he's young. He's 23, so he's a bit of a project, a bit of, you know, you need him. You're going to need to develop him a little bit. But you're asking him to basically play a backup role in spots here and there, you know, 15, 20 minutes, and just kind of just be a big body in the paint, right? 6'11", 270. Just use your length, use your size, use your wingspan, use the things that, you know, you've been gifted, especially because he has like a 7'7" wingspan or something like that, which is if I'm not mistaken, the second largest in the NBA. Mo Bamba, I believe, has the first, and then it's him with the second. So he's got the length, he's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the toughness. He's young and kind of fits what the Lakers are trying to do, getting these development bigs, right? Utah just let him go, but not because they really wanted to, but because he kind of just became the odd man out with Walker Kessler kind of evolving into this like really great center. And then you have Lauri Markkanen, and then they traded for John Collins. So it's like, where are you going to get the minutes for Udoka? So I think he would be another really solid, sizable body. The other option would be, you know, the veteran route. Now, I am a huge fan of Hassan Whiteside. I still like the idea of Hassan Whiteside. I was really preaching and kind of trying to put it out in the universe that the Lakers would bring in Hassan Whiteside going into the playoffs. Unfortunately, the Lakers didn't bring him in, and, you know, he's playing overseas right now, but I'm sure, like most NBA players, have that NBA opt-out and would be more than happy to come in. But the other options are, you know, if you don't go Hassan Whiteside, which, again, I really do. I get he has the character issues and the ego and stuff, but we've seen people get that piece of humble pie, which Hassan Whiteside, I definitely believe, has that piece of humble pie. And so allowing him to kind of show, and you're bringing him in probably for a non-guaranteed deal anyway. So bringing him in, kind of seeing if he can kind of stay level-headed, I think that would be great. But outside of that, many people want Dwight Howard back. I'm not really sold on Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard wants to come back. He's made that very clear, very abundant. I think a lot of that is just because he playing in Taiwan, they don't want to pay him anymore because they felt like he took it as a joke rather than actually going out and performing, and he was not happy about that. But I mean, that's basically what it was for him. It was just like this spectacle, a circus, and he was the main attraction. So, you know, that becomes a question, and then just his age, and I wouldn't hate it if it happened, but I'm not like super stoked and sold on like bringing in Dwight Howard. DeMarcus Cousins, he recently had a growing strain, which sucks because that dude cannot stay healthy to save his life. And it sucks, man. Because, I mean, that dude if he was healthy, that dude might still be one of, if not the best centers in the league. That guy was so good. So good. But if he could just stay healthy, right? Like, he is more than capable of providing like 15 minutes a game. Right? 15, 20 minutes a game. That would just be great. I mean, and he's been really good in backup roles. Like, he was really good in Denver, but injuries, right? Like, anytime he played more than like 10 minutes, like, he'd have to sit out the next like 2 or 3 games. So I don't know. He's lost some weight and he's cut down, so that could be a possibility. But and then you got like other guys like Serge Ibaka. I'm not like super high on, but like maybe he come in and kind of fit that floor spacing and give you a different look, give you a different option, right? Because you got Jaxson Hayes, who he's not going to be a floor stretching big, right? And if you bring in like say a Dwight Howard or a Hassan Whiteside, they don't really give you any floor spacing. That's why like a Leonard or maybe even a Serge Ibaka makes a little sense. Even Udoka, he's not going to give you any floor spacing. But I don't know. I mean, I really think that they need a big body. I genuinely do. I think that the Lakers, if the plan is to really bring in Jaxson Hayes and have him play the starting five, you got to get a big body. And Christian Wood and Biz is not the answer for that. Again, if they're your third center and in Christian Wood's case playing the 4, then cool. I'm okay with that, right? Like if you absolutely have to in a pinch, he could play the 5, but you're not expecting him to play heavy minutes at the 5, then sure, right? But I don't know. Time will tell. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think like, bring in a Leonard, bring in a Hassan Whiteside, bring in Cousins, Howard, whomever. Go the younger route, bring in like Udoka. That could be a real option. Because at least he has NBA experience in minutes, right? I did a whole video on him. At least because I mean, there's other like rookies or undrafted guys that are out there, but the problem is they don't have any NBA experience. Like Udoka even started last year on numerous occasions on a Utah team that was pretty good for a good majority of the season, and then kind of came back to earth towards the back half. But so I think he could be a solid pickup, but the Lakers just need size at that point. If you're gonna have Hayes be the starter, if you have AD starting at the 5 and then Hayes is coming off the bench, and then you want to run spots where they both play, then fine. I'm totally okay with that. But if he's gonna be your starter and he's playing, like I said, 25 minutes a game or whatever as your starting center, I think that you need to get a big body. But anyway, again, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.